Hello and welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I'm your host, Chance Pitts, joined today by co-host Mr. Lane Divin. Welcome in.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, y'all probably going to be seeing a little bit more of old Divin here since he's about a mile down the road now, and he's been a big part of what we're doing here at Next in Line. So
yeah, absolutely.
Better get used to that. That's all kinds of adventures that we've been taking on recently, and then
just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff on the book, so stay with it. But before we dive into it, guys, a couple of announcements to knock out. We are, inside of a week from due date on a little girl.
Came up quick, dude.
Came up real quick.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but man, beyond that, specifically with the Next in Line movement we got going on, we got some races coming up. We've got the Habanero 100 Relay on August 12th over in Cat Spring, Texas. We got quite a few people joining in on that, whether it's crew, actual runners, or just being out there around us and having a good time and join us out there in Cat Spring. So if you're interested in that, guys, make sure you reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Next in Line Development on all three of those platforms. After that, guys, we are around 3 months out from the KD 225 Ultra Marathon coming up on October 23rd in McClinton, Missouri. That's going to be my first 200-plus mile effort. It's going to be a little bit crazy. I'll be joined by Lane Divin, of course, and a slew of other people out there crewing and pacing for that wild event coming to you.
A big old crew out there, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real good time, man. And honestly, it's what I'm looking forward to, kind of the highlight of my career to this point and this year event wise. So pretty stoked about that. But we got another big one coming up not too long after that. We're going over to Needville, Texas on December 2nd. Going to run or a couple of us are probably going to run the Brazos Bend 100 out there, 100-mile ultra marathon. I know Michael's going to take on his first race. We got a couple more people deciding whether they're going to get into that or not. They'll still think it's up in the air, but either way, we'll have a real good group out there, a big crew, and it'll be a good time. So.
Yeah, yep. 3 months out from Katy Trails. I'm sure that one came up quick on you too.
Came up quick, man. All the big things are coming up real quick.
Life. That's how that works out.
Man, it certainly does. We've been fighting a couple things here and there too with just different things, a little knee tweak here and there, and some things hindering the schedule. But man, it's gonna come out to just a dogfight, I think. So,
yeah. I mean, it'll pan out how it's supposed to at the end of the day. So
I think that's right, and. Man, that kind of closes out the old announcements for us, though. But, man, me and you've had a couple conversations here lately just about some of the things that we want to get out of life, some of the directions we want to head. And, I mean, from everything that me and you engage in, the podcasts that we listen to, the conversations we have, the people we hang out with, the movies we watch, all of those things, they kind of are all things that point us towards striving for bigger things.
Yep.
Trying to really achieve what you want out of this life, right?
Yeah, dude. And I mean, you kind of have to immerse yourself into that world. Otherwise, if you don't set that expectation for yourself, then I mean, you just kind of fall to the wayside a little bit. You know, whether it's whether you've been in it for a while, right, and it's a time aspect of it, and you're just not seeing what you want to out of it, or if it's, some of those other factors that a lot of people deal with. I don't know. You just got to kind of immerse yourself in that world.
You got to do it, and I mean, one of the ways we put it, man, you got to bet on yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's you get to a point with some of the things that you're wanting to do and some of the different things you're looking at, and you realize that whatever it is in life that you're wanting to achieve, whether it's a new career path, or whether it's going and running these crazy ultra marathons, or whether it's just something like losing weight or getting a little bit healthier, or changing some habits that you got, whatever it is, kicking an addiction, you have to really take the reins, if you will. You've got to decide that you're going to do it and just dive full in, head first, not holding back anymore. And
yeah, you gotta fully commit to it, right?
you do, and you can get caught in that analysis by paralysis real quick. And I think that's one thing me and you have done for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a few different aspects that we've been kind of looking at, and I guess more so avenues that we've been looking at, right? And it's something that we've talked about many times on here. And I think my first podcast on here, actually, I remember talking about, just not being afraid to just start, right? And it's always easier said than done, as everybody listening is aware of, right? But I don't know. It's very easy to say one thing, but it's totally different to do another, and it's just making sure we practice what we preach too. So,
100%, and kind of from those thoughts and those conversations, we decided to take our own advice a little bit and take on one that to me is one of the scariest and most foreign areas of development, and that's personal finance. Man,
yeah,
it's kind of the elephant in the room nobody likes to talk about. It's the one where you just kind of hang on as long as you can with the habits that you have and everything like that, and only the things that really make you change is a forcible change type situation where you find yourself way overextended. You find yourself in a bad spot, and I think that's the main reason people make that change in a lot of regards, but especially in the financial realm. And
that or the other side of it too, like you're too scared to act because it's finances.
Yeah, no, that's a great point as well. And it's hard to tie up that money whenever you never know what you're going to need. You never know what emergency is going to pop up, right?
Yep.
So one thing we've been working to challenge ourselves on is to go ahead and jump off that ledge and start just generating some money here and there, right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, just a side hustle like everybody else, tends to have and at some point in their life, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so with that, me and Mr. Lane Divin here made our first of many trips to go recover vehicles that we can turn a profit on, doing a little bit of flipping in the automotive industry with used cars.
Yeah.
And we had this past weekend took on a little bit of an adventure, and luckily we've got some easy early prospects with family members that have old cars sitting around that they don't want anymore or just taking up space, and we had some opportunity to get some things running and borrow some equipment from some other family members and jet up to Central Texas to go recover a 2000 model Dodge Ram 1500 that we're gonna try to get after. But
we're gonna get that sucker going, absolutely.
And just as you can expect, whenever we get into something like this, kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit more gung ho. Like I said, we chose to dive in very, very headfirst and aggressively into it. It's once we decide to do something, it's about nothing to 90 in about 2 seconds.
About 2 seconds, yeah. That's the easiest way of putting that, man.
We bought some tools, we bought some infrastructure, we bought some different things to get going, and we knew that we had access to a car hauler trailer, and found out that we have access to all the tie downs and the winch and all that good stuff we need too.
Yeah, man. You think about all the big things, right? And it's not that you don't recognize the small details, but you don't recognize the small details until it comes time for it. And luckily we had a family member that came in clutch for us on all of it, and he was pretty willing to help us out, so worked out for us.
And on the front end of it, before we get real far into like the story of us going up there and everything, man, it's one of those things that if we would have beat ourselves to death with all the small things ahead of time, I'm actually pretty thankful we didn't overanalyze that and think about all the things we needed to do, because we could have probably racked up a few grand worth of investment up early and be in the situation we're in where, me and Lane are about to have have a kid here in less than a week, and I know you and Kendall just went through some pretty substantial changes career-wise and moving wise and all that stuff, and probably both of us in a spot where we didn't necessarily want to pour a ton of money into something, but we decided to just go for it, and it wasn't the paralysis by analysis. It was much more of the fly by the seat of your pants and figure it out as you go. But because of that, we didn't spend the money up front to do this and that. We bought a couple of things we knew we were going to need, but we were able to figure it out as we go, and we were able to. It forced us to use our resources, right? It forced us to start asking people about vehicles. It forced us to start asking people about equipment that we could borrow and about just advice in general, and they're using their experience too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just forces you to figure things out, right? Which is the gist of just getting started, and the gist of, paralysis by overanalysis, right? You're going through, you're just trying to think out every single detail instead of just getting out there. And, obviously you need to have some type of idea of where you're headed and some type of idea generally of, that process or whatever it may be. But, you're going to learn things along the way, and you're going to learn those lessons along the way too, which will probably hold a little bit more weight than just some research. But no, man, I mean, it was a good time. Yeah. It was an adventure.
Yeah, I think we decided Thursday night that we were gonna go up there and grab that vehicle or something like that. We'd talked about it all week, but then the final say was really Thursday night.
Thursday, yeah.
So Friday after work, we went and got all the stuff that we needed, prepped everything out, and grabbed it all, gathered it up. Had to learn about working on a trailer a little bit.
Some trailer light, diagnosing, which we didn't get too far on. But hey, sun comes up at 6:30, so we're all right.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And then beyond that, too, we had to learn about the mechanics of axles on trailers a little bit.
Dude, yeah, I forgot about that.
had to flip an axle on a trailer that we didn't exactly expect to have to do. But it's a little worrisome whenever you're two rear tires on the trailer are off the ground, not touching, and had to learn a little bit. And that's something you'll learn about us is we are a little bit mechanically inclined. We've had to deal with some stuff before. Like I've had to deal with flipped axles a time or two before out at the ranch, but we're very much amateurs.
YouTube certified, baby.
YouTube certified. And that's going to be kind of the theme of it. And I think we're going to keep y'all updated on kind of some of the stuff that we're diving into with that. But we just kind of wanted to share our experience and our first dive into something like this in case you're sitting on the fence kind of thinking about starting something, or you're sitting on the fence wondering which way to go, or maybe you're in that paralysis by analysis kind of spot we talked about a couple of times. But man, we got that thing rigged up Friday night.
Friday night, probably, I don't know, about 9, 10 o'clock at night is when we wrapped it up, I think.
Finalized everything, made sure we had all the stuff we needed, came up with a game plan. Met at your place around 6 the next morning. Yep.
I was making my breakfast, and after that we got on the road, man. Got on the road, and we had a solid trip going down there. We didn't have any issues, hiccups going down there or anything like that.
Yeah, the only thing that changed, we were actually going to grab 2 vehicles whenever we were going up there.
Yeah, that's right.
And one of them was unavailable, so it changed our trajectory a little bit. We ended up only getting one, which kind of ended up being a little bit of a blessing in disguise because we ran into some other issues here and there, and some power issues and things like that just with getting that thing down here. I think it would have made it driving on its own power, but there's also some other risks we would have taken with registration being out and things like that.
Registration, but, a 3.5 hour road trip, a lot can happen in that time span too. So.
Correct, yeah, especially on something that's been sitting for so long. But
for a little while,
yeah, that was really the only change going up there, I think. Truck did good. Trailer pulled good.
Yeah. No, everything was smooth sailing going up there. We got over there, and shoot, man. We didn't really have any hiccups once we got there either.
No, we got there, and man, I think we were turned around and coming back within an hour or about an hour time frame.
Yeah. Because we just had to clean it up a little bit and just get it loaded. So that's definitely 30, 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was
a quick turnaround.
It was a quick turnaround, and we got that thing spun, loaded up, popped a battery charger off of it. They've been kind enough to charge the battery up for us up there, and man, everything went pretty smooth with the loading process and getting everything up on there. She didn't like them high RPM ranges up there. Didn't like trying to climb on that trailer, and
didn't like the ramp, the incline.
It sure didn't, but
didn't like the hills.
No. But once it was on there, man,
relatable.
Yeah, I understand completely. We were able to throw them chains and binders on that sucker and get it wrenched down, and
even that was a little bit of a learning experience for us too. I coming from the equipment industry world, we have an idea of how to chain some stuff down, but I've personally never done it. I don't know if you had beforehand. I think you did.
Yeah,
you had a little bit more experience on that than I did.
A little bit different kind of binders and stuff like that we'd use and things like that. And on 18-wheeler trailers with big equipment, of course, way more tie-down points and a little bit more user-friendly.
Well, there's no suspension component to the machines either.
That's very true as well.
I was thinking about that when we were tying that sucker down. It's like, dang, I know I never saw a machine move like that whenever my driver used to cinch that sucker down.
Yep, no, exactly.
If there did, there's probably a pretty big issue.
Yeah, no kidding. And so that was a little bit of a learning curve too. But, man, we got the thing loaded down, checked everything, triple checked.
Yeah.
Hit Green Sausage House over there in Zopsicville, Texas.
Absolutely, man. That place is hard to beat.
Best kolaches in Central Texas. Well,
I think the only place that's let me backstep a little bit. There's two places that are probably within that caliber, and there is West, the kolaches out there in West Texas, and then Proshix. I stand behind Proshix pretty dang good.
That's fair. And
but Green's dang good too.
Maybe we'll have an aspect of a kolache review here someday as well. But man, if you're ever in Central Texas near Greens, over near Temple, Texas, it's a little bit east of Temple on 53 out there in Zopsicville.
Yep.
But man, it's a jam up good. So of course we had to stop there. I think my wife and your wife as well. Man, it's still kind of weird saying wife on both of those, right? But both of our wives wanted something from there too, so we had to make the stop. But man, then we were quickly back on the road, kind of nervous as what's the saying, long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs kind of thing. We're flying a little under the radar in a couple things. Didn't have any lights on the old trailer rig.
We didn't have lights on the trailer rig. Tow rig doesn't have a up-to-date registration.
Yeah.
I don't think we were overweight, but we were probably close to it.
We're bumping the edges there. Yeah. Either way,
man. That's all in details.
A couple of things had us nervous out there, but we were running back and forth up there, man, and
I was running again.
We were.
Yep.
And it man, thinking more and more about it, it really encompasses that whole aspect to just dive in and get after it, because, man, we were just two guys that don't know what we're doing yet. Then when we got up there and started loading the truck, we figured out a couple of things that were wrong with it real quick. Transmission needs some work. AC needs some work. And probably a little bit on the engine as well, just as far as whether it's fuel pump or the fuel that's getting to them.
Yeah,
engine.
Fuel pump, the fuel filters, whatever it may be. Just some of your more basic stuff. But really, I mean, it is running pretty dang good. We took it down the road once we got it back. Shoot, we went up to 60 pretty easily. Yeah,
and it wasn't doing bad, but I mean, you got to talk about we're jumping in on this thing with little to no experience. We're talking about just going all in. We're gonna get over our heads real quick, but man, that's just part of what it's about. And one of the other points I wanted to make in this whole thing was, man, whenever you're deciding to jump in and take on something like this, we figured out real quick that there's a lot of things we didn't have knowledge of that we're going to have to work on this truck, especially with AC, especially with the transmission. But we're surrounded by a lot of people that do have that kind of experience. We're surrounded by a lot of people willing to lend some help and that kind of thing as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot about who you know and being able to lean on those connections that you have. But it's about having that willingness to dive into, something like this too. Not being afraid to dive into repair. Like, at the end of the day, it's all nuts and bolts and gears, gaskets, a little bit of fluid here and there, right?
Yeah.
But, it's just diving in. Like we've said many times, just going head first and not being afraid to just take that chance, take that risk. Otherwise you're just gonna be sitting there otherwise. So.
And that's with anything that you do. You got two goofballs here working on trucks and starting to make some money in that regard. But man, it's everything. We both had some experience with weight loss, and it's identical to that, right?
Yeah.
It's all, at the end of the day, it comes down to calories in, calories out. It comes to getting up and moving your body. It comes to there's a certain level whenever it really gets down to the quality of the food that you put in your body, and it comes down to the quality of the workouts you get and the quality of the sleep and recovery that you get as well. But deeper than that, I mean, the initial part of it is whether you're getting into ultra running or whether you're getting into weight loss, whatever it is, it's a start, right? You said it's all nuts, bolts, gears, all that good
and
stuff.
Gaskets and fluid, man.
Man, it's the same
it's all
way.
It makes up a vehicle.
It's the same way. It's all some movement. It's some food in and out, some calories
some
in
proper
and out.
nutrition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same
recovery.
thing.
Yep.
And I know we're getting into the story over here a little bit with the old truck, but man, there's some great points you can take and apply to everything in the personal development realm. And that's why we're sitting down and telling this story today, guys. But
well, I think a big part of it too is just, maintaining that positive outlook and just having faith in that process, right? We could have looked at the probably 100 different things that could have gone wrong, pulling that trailer up there, not knowing how it'd pull coming back down with that load underneath it and everything else. And I mean, if you just dive into negative type of things, and that's probably all that you're going to see out there. And it's just instead, maintain that positive outlook and just having faith in the process. So
yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, we didn't have a spare tire for the truck or the trailer either.
You're dang right, man.
We kind of burned the ships on that one, man.
I'm fixing that tomorrow.
There we go. But we just went. What we're saying is, you got to go. You can't let things keep you complacent.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there will never be a perfect time for literally anything. Like, literally anything that you're waiting on, or whatever that case may be. Like, there is truly never a perfect time other than now. And I think we can both testify to the progress that we've made over the past 2.5, 3 years, whatever it may be, and we can testify to that pretty easily.
I agree with you fully. And it's funny you say perfect time, because that's going to bring us to another point that I wanted to get into.
Well, there's another aspect of it too.
We'll shift gears a little bit on you, but we had something come up, and it just kind of reinforced one of the facts that I've come to see within this, and that's whenever you're choosing to do the right things and whenever you're making the right decisions, you have the right intentions behind things. Things often, and your plans often, find a way to work themselves out for the better. You find a way to come out on the other side maybe a little bit more lucky than you should in some regards. And that brings me to the perfect timing. There's a little thing about Lane's truck, that I don't know if you want to tell the people about it a little bit.
The fuel gauge may just read a tick off or two.
just a little bit. And we're stuck in South Austin traffic coming out of there. And
there's traffic, construction, just straight congestion, midday. Just imagine that.
on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, yeah.
And you looked at me and you said, we should probably start looking for a gas station pretty soon. I've had some issues in the past and want to make sure that we don't run out of gas here.
For the fourth time.
Yeah, and when he said that to me, I was a little bit gun shy. Not gonna lie, it was kind of a little bit worrisome there. But
it's completely understandable. Usually, once I hit about a quarter of a tank, it's like, all right, I know I need to fill up, because if it gets much lower than that, it's not gonna read. But I know that we're pretty dang close.
Well, and the reason for that lead up right there is we got through the traffic finally in South Austin.
We did.
Found a little gas station after not being able to track one down for a little while. Found us a little gas station on the side of the road, and it wasn't the nicest thing in the world, but we decided to roll on in there anyway because it was what was close.
Yep.
And
thank the good Lord that we did.
Amen, because wouldn't you know it, as soon as we turned right to pull into that gas station, truck shut off.
Man, we crested that hill, and that trailer just crested that top of the hill as well, and we're on the downhill slope cruising in, and that sucker just shut off. I lost power steering. I had still had brakes, obviously, but pulled up perpendicular to the tanks.
Yeah,
Luckily, no one else was there at the time.
No kidding, man. The gas pumps were facing probably east to west, and we rolled in north to south, and just nosed up to the end of it, and just stretched that hose out about as far as we could to get it filled up, and everything worked out perfectly.
It did, man. It did, and we've said it before. I know that I've brought it up a couple times, but it's all in God's timing. It's just having faith in that process and having a little bit of luck, but it's God's timing at the end of the day. So
it is, and man, you can bet the opposite's going to happen during this. We plan on getting this thing going and getting some other opportunities opened up through being able to generate some cash flow with this. That's the in and the out of it, to put ourselves in a spot where we're going to turn out better. And because of that, we're going to take this on a few more times. This isn't going to be the last adventure of us going to chase down these vehicles like that. I think we already got one more on the books already that we weren't able to get this past weekend. But, man, I think going into it and knowing that there's going to be issues that come. There's going to be the highs and lows, right? We finished on a pretty good high note there, rolling into the gas station and avoiding a pretty big issue. But there's going to be the lows too, right? There's going to be things that come through that completely fall apart. Now, we hope it's not a vehicle flying off the back of the trailer or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and that's on the upper end of our worries. But we got the sucker tied down just fine. So
yeah, exactly. But I mean, it goes back to kind of the point I was making with that, guys and gals. It's, if you find yourself working towards a goal, if you find yourself headed down a path, you find yourself truly with the right intentions behind this, because me and Divin here talked about a couple of different things that we were going to make sure to keep in mind as we went into business and whatever it was, and we weren't ever going to let money stand in the way of helping other people, is one of the rules we made. We were going to make sure that at the end of the day, what we do is fair in all regards, and if we can find a way to give back in the process, that's one of our biggest goals. Because with the entirety of this thing, I mean, we're looking for finding a way to buy ourselves time and buy ourselves freedom in life to be able to do what we want to do with our time.
Yep.
Time's the most valuable thing that we have, and we both came to the conclusion that if we can do that for other people as well, then we can give them a little bit more of that freedom and that time and that value, then that's what we're going to do as well. And man, I think between that, probably the prayer you said the night before, for our journey to go smooth, and
it's just a reminder, right? And I mean, we had that conversation last night too. There's been many things in my life, especially here recently. I think, many things in your life as well, especially here recently, especially, with your little one on the way. Just reminders of it's all God's time, it's all God's plan, and it's just having faith. So
Yeah, and if you're living in the right place, if you're walking the right line, making the right decisions for the right reasons, it benefits you even more. It's going to give that positivity back to you that you're generating, putting out in the world. It's a value exchange, much like what we try to do with Next in Line here.
mm-hmm.
The universe, the world, whatever you want to call whatever it is out there controlling all of this and all that. I agree with you. It's God's timing. But if you're out there and you believe something completely different, just know that this whole entire thing has a way of balancing itself out. It has a way of making sure that the people that deserve the good things end up in a good place. And it doesn't always work out that way, at least seemingly on the surface in some regards. There's tough situations, there's outliers, but man, that's just part of this deal for us is whenever we got our heads in the right places, whenever we're trying to do the right thing, we've experienced good things coming back our direction, much like not running out of gas on the side of the interstate in Austin, Texas.
In a construction zone.
Yeah, with no shoulder. Yeah, that would have been a fun one because they would have, I imagine we would have ended up with a cop flagging traffic for us and probably would have uncovered a few other.
And then there would have been many questions.
some tickets and whatnot. Riding around like Smokey and the Bandit out there, I guess is what we're trying to say. But
yeah, absolutely.
But man, just what an experience and what a takeaway from that situation. I mean, it was good as gold. We got that thing home, like you said. We unloaded it off of there. Decided to go put it down the road to get a feel for what it was after we put some fuel cleaner and
some new gas in
there. And man, it was humming right along, and we ended that day on a very positive spot, I think.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, like I said, there could have been so many different things that could have gone wrong, and we could have dwelled on those, and those things could have happened, right? But still, it's your perspective through those scenarios, through those different situations. It's gonna make you or make your day or whatever it may be. Like it's life in general. It's all about your perspective.
It is 100%. And man, I have been the world's worst here lately about getting bogged down in all those things that don't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a beautiful example of not worrying about those things and just going and figuring it out as you go and seeing what happens and adjusting, man, and attacking. And man, I do that probably the worst in my career just because it's so consuming in some ways, right? I'm on the phone from 6 a.m. sometimes before that to 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and I feel like it takes a lot of time from me, and it takes a lot of my energy and my emotional energy to be involved in it. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, in perspective, I've got a good job. I've got good opportunities. I work for a good company.
Well, and you're making a difference in a lot of those folks' lives too. Like they see that you actually care, right? You know, everybody's had that bad manager or bad coworker where you can't get a hold of them or whatever it may be. But, you know, always being that available person for them, you know, that goes a long ways.
It does, and man, it just kind of ties everything together. And like you said, with perspective, man, you've got to understand that things are going to be tough, things are going to suck. It's human nature. If this thing was easy, if this life was just nothing but sunshine and butterflies and daisies and all that good stuff, rainbows, then man, we'd live a very boring life, live a very different one.
Yeah, I mean, it'd make all those things that actually matter or are tough to achieve or whatever it may be seem that less significant. So,
yeah,
you know, going through the daily trials and tribulations that, you know, some of us do go through, I mean, makes those moments that much more special.
100%. No, that's exactly right. And, man, I can't reiterate to y'all enough the main point of this podcast right here, which is just go do it. Go take it on. Get started. Dive in. Man, we've just, in the past 2.5 years, whatever we've been doing, there's been so many changes. If you had ever told me that I was going to be going and running races like this, I was going to be doing all these crazy things, even just going in and starting a business with you or starting side hustle with you, doing some things like this. If we would have told you that you were going to do a Spartan Ultra event, like all these things would have been
Spartan Race or Ultra experience.
crazy foreign, right? It would have been this wildly unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
But man,
it literally comes down to just committing to that and just getting after it. Just commit and get after it. That's all it is.
That's all it is, brother. Well,
That's
man,
all it is. So
that's the story of us going up there and starting our endeavor into the flipping car side hustle.
Yeah. No, I mean, first of many adventures, and whether it stays with, flipping cars or whatever it may be in the future, we don't really truly know what the future entails, but again, it's just starting that process and learning as you go. Taking those lessons that you learn and applying them to, the future. And, you can apply this to so many different things. Like, it's not just business. It's your health. It's your relationships, probably first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. Just get out there and do it. That's all it is.
That's exactly right, man.
So.
No, well, I appreciate you coming in here and having this conversation with me and
absolutely, man.
Recapping this weekend and letting us put out all the craziness from some of the risky things we did, all the way into some of the borderline embarrassing things that we almost had to deal with out there on the highway. But man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see where we go with it, and of course, we'll keep everybody updated on what we're doing and the progress we're making with it. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's always a pleasure, and I'm excited for the opportunity, to be here locally now and get to be a lot more involved in this. I'm excited to see where it all leads. So
yeah, no, that's,
we're gonna get into trouble one way or another.
One way or another. But man, that's all I got today, Mr. Divin. You got anything else to cap on there?
Yes, sir. No, I mean, that's about it, man. So, just, again, folks, just don't hesitate. Get after it.
Yeah. If we can ever do anything for y'all, reach out. Guys, easiest way to get a hold of us is at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If y'all got something out of this, even if it's just a laugh or some entertainment from two goofy guys out there trying to make something of themselves, make sure you share the show with somebody that could receive that same kind of value or those laughs. And, man, that's all I got, so you know what time it is.
I do, man.
Well, guys, keep after it. Do hard things.
Yes, sir.
Always be prepared for whatever is next in line. There we go.